Dasyam Sakyam Atmanivedanam. 9. Then what else we discussed? 4 legs of Dharma. Yes. What are those? Satya, Daya, Tapa, Socha. Okay, very good. And we also saw, what else we saw? Huh? Different Yuga Dharmas for different Yugas. We saw that. What else? Chanting? Chanting must be done. How chanting must be done? How? How do you do? Very loudly. Okay, what is that? Uchchesware. And then this one? Urdha kare. Nritya kare. Then the 4th one is Prema bhare. If you do that, then the Lord will fill your heart with Prema, Krishna Prema. What else? He was saying the peaceful chanting. Yes. How do you do peaceful chanting? What is the definition of humble? Humbler than, not like, more than, humbler than the grass. Not equal to. And what is the definition of humility which Prabhupada gives? No. The definition of humility which Prabhupada gives in 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is not to have unnecessary anxiety to get some recognition from others. Unnecessary anxiety, mere ko nahi diya hai, that kind of thing. So this Siddhanta follows Sadachar. Unless you do this thing in action, peacefully or Sada Hari will not be possible. This is what we were seeing yesterday. The first one was humbler than the grass, then more tolerant than the tree. There was one example which I forgot to mention. I mean, I go back, then I realize, I forgot so many things. Yeah, there's so many things to say, and time goes away very quickly. But this definitely worth speaking about. I spoke about one verse from Bhagavatam, Etavad Janma Safalyam, that Praner Arthe Dhya Vacha. When Krishna is passing through the forest of Vrindavan, he's looking at the trees and he's glorifying, and he speaks about this verse, how we should engage our human life in service of the Lord by giving our prana, artha, or dhya, or vacha. If you see any movies, right, be it in a Telugu movie, to even more, aggressively, whether it is Telugu, Hindi, or Hollywood, whenever the hero or protagonist is being beaten, right, sometimes it happens, the hero is tied, and then the villain is having his time, so he's giving him this thing. I remember seeing one, I don't want to mention, anyway. So the hero, even though he's tolerating, right, he's one tack over here, he's tolerated that, one more, and third, fourth, fifth, and he's getting that, he's tolerating. But deep within his thinking, mera bhi time aayega, chhodunga nahi main teruko, whatever, right? I am counting that, I'm tolerating, but there is a sense of revenge. The word tolerance in our life means forgiving people, letting them go. There's so many mistakes so many people do. If you count them, you can't be peaceful inside. So Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadhari. We saw all of those. I'll not go into that. We will straight go into the purport. There is a lot of things to be discussed. And it's very, very, very nice actually. None of you mentioned about the... Huh? Raga was done before. None of you mentioned about Narad Muni's this thing. How fearlessly he was waiting for the death, and he was going on chanting with 2 qualities, without pride and without envy. And he was not worried. His mother, there was no guardian, there was nobody to take care, but he was fearless. He was going on chanting and glorifying the names of the Lord. So that's the power of holy name. Anyway, we will see quickly. So the verse that we've been seeing is from Bhagavatam. This is spoken by Prahlāda Mahārāja. When Prahlāda asked, Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlāda, what's your favorite subject? And Prahlāda responds, you can repeat, Śrī Prahlāda Uvacha Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atmanivedanam Iti Pumsarpita Vishno Bhaktischena Navalakshana Kriyate Bhagavati Adha Tanmanye Dhitamuttamam. So we will go to Kirtanam. And we were here. The process of transcendental chanting can be easily performed by anyone. You are able to see? So then it says, even if one is physically unfit, classified lower than others, devoid of material qualifications, or not at all elevated in terms of pious activities, the chanting of the holy name is beneficial. Can you give example from Bhagavatam, anybody who was physically unfit? Vritrasura, physically unfit, why? He was big, physically he was fit. He was able to chant. So he's saying, even if one is physically unfit, of course you are saying the size was not conducive for him to practice, is that? But he was a devotee. He was just, his consciousness was even in the body of demon, he was a devotee. Example of someone who was, I can take Vritrasura, because he was a demon when you have a point. Any other example which comes to your mind with somebody who was physically unfit? Ajamila? He was old and he was on the deathbed. Actually, Ajamila Ajamila can go in every this thing that you can put Ajamila. Apart from Ajamila, who? What is her name? No. Is it Mantra? But she is hunchback, but she was not... Sabri was not hunchback, she was old. Actually, one example, could be also all of you when you are thinking, I was just thinking of from Bhagavatam, the classic example of this is Gajendra, the elephant. Physically unfit because it was an elephant's body, caught by the crocodile, helpless. Right? Even if one is physically unfit. Okay, classified lower than others. Who's classified lower than others? An example? Vidura. Okay. Classified lower than others. Who's? सब में अजामिला को छोड़ के. Classified lower than others. Actually, one classic example of this is Narad Muni meets this person in a Mrigari. Mrigari was born in a very low caste and he was doing all abominable things. Physically unfit is Gajendra. Devoid of material qualifications or not at all elevated in terms of pious activities. Any example of this? No material qualifications, not at all elevated in terms of pious activities. Actually classified lower than others, even all these Muslims, like if you say in one way, Haridas Thakur and others, they still became Namacharya. Right? Who's that? Devoid of material qualifications and not at all elevated in terms of pious activities. Jada Bharat was aware of his position. That's why he was deliberately maintaining a... who's? Sudama. Sudama was materially qualified. He's a Brahmana. He was devoid of material qualifications or not at all elevated in terms of pious activities. Okay, Mataji, सोचिए. Kamsa? No, but he chanted. Even if one is physically unfit, classified lower than the others, devoid of material qualifications or not at all elevated in terms of pious activities, the chanting of the holy name is beneficial. Example, of course, not exactly, just what's coming to my mind is Valmiki. Before he became Valmiki, he was what? Ratnakar, right? A thief, dacoit, used to kill. There was nothing, no material qualifications, and he's not at all elevated in terms of pious activities. Still, the chanting of the holy name is very beneficial, you see, very, very powerful. An aristocratic birth, an advanced education, beautiful bodily features, wealth, and similar results of pious activities are all unnecessary for advancement in spiritual life, for one can very easily advance simply by chanting the holy name. We know these prayers we are chanting on Sunday. Janma Ishwarya Shuta Shrivir, Edhamana, Madapuman, Naivahartiya Vidhatum Vai Tvam Makinchana Gocharam. So can you think of any example whose aristocratic birth was an impediment in taking up to devotional life? Son of Kubera, I wanted to put them in the one beautiful bodily features. They were actually intoxicated by their beautiful bodily features. Okay, aristocratic birth. Anybody else? Duryodhana is a good example. Who said Duryodhana? Yes. Karna also is good, but he was not aristocratic birth as such. Duryodhan, because he was always thinking I'm a Chakravarti Samrat and has that big ego, just couldn't take it. Advanced education, beautiful bodily features, we will take Jagat Purusha's answer. M and N. Who are they? He just said. And Manigriva. We sing, no? In Damodara Ashtakam. What is that? Where that? Kuberatmajo vadha mrutveva yadvat tvaya mochito bhakti. So beautiful bodily features are those. Advanced education, who's there? Who? Huh? Ravana can come. Yes, Ravana we can. Anybody who what else you are saying? Arjuna. Arjuna is a devotee. These are people, because of their aristocratic birth or advanced education, bodily features, they are not able to chant. So this is, Ravana is, okay, can be a good this thing. Bali is a devotee. Kamsa can be, but uska education ka pata nahi hai. Ravana definitely was a learned man. The Prahlāda Mahārāja's friends, you are saying, they were not, they had, but they were all children. They were all 5 years, they were going to, it's not like PhD and postdoc, but anyway. So you got it. Okay, wealth and similar results of pious activities. Anybody? Because of wealth, who's not able to, who forgets? There are wealth and similar results of pious activities. Wealth actually comes up. One person who acts like a devotee sometimes, but he forgets his position of devotee. Because of wealth, because of power. Lives in heaven. Yeah. Similar results of pious activities. One example of Bhagavatam, where their wives were very advanced spiritually, but these people, their husbands, they were doing some pious activities. Their wives were devotees. Who said? No, Nagapatni. Yajnik wives, the Yajnik Brahmanas. They were busy doing the rituals. The Brahmanas' wives, Yajnik Brahmanas. We've heard, right? When Krishna Balaram went for asking for this thing, the coward boys went for asking for prasadam, they didn't give anything. So these are all impediments, right? Aristocratic birth, advanced education, beautiful bodily features, wealth, and similar results of pious activities are all unnecessary for advancement in spiritual life. For one can very easily advance simply by chanting the holy name. Simply just chant the holy name. It is understood from the authoritative source of Vedic literature that especially in this age Kali Yuga, people are, you see, there are very great things which are mentioned about this Kali Yuga. It is understood from the authoritative source of Vedic literature, especially in this age Kali Yuga, people are generally short-living. Short-living means how long they live? 100, if somebody lives for 100, it's a big thing. And it's all made up of. Actually, you see somebody is living 100, you have to go and verify. Very few. Actually, it's in some village, maybe some grandmother, grandfather, Badri's grandmother is almost on the verge of reaching 100. But otherwise, it's very difficult to find someone in city and all. Okay, generally short living. You got the idea of short living. Extremely bad in their habits. What bad habits people have? Sense gratification. Anything else? Huh? Breaking 4 regulative principles. Sense gratification. What else? Huh? Forgetfulness. Bad habits. Huh? What is that? What did you say? Passion and ignorance. Very lazy, actually. Extremely lazy. For spiritual, this thing called. And that is there. Not following relative principles is covered. Something forgetfulness I wrote. Okay. They won't get up. They'll sleep late. They'll get up late. After getting up, they'll have bed tea without washing their face, without even brushing teeth. All bad habits. Not like bad, even grossly bad habits, though, bharke, indulging in all kinds of sinful activities. But even otherwise, a lot of bad habits. This is the Kali Yuga. People are generally short-living, extremely bad in their habits, inclined to accept methods of devotional service that are not bona fide. See, third, another thing which he is mentioning here. Inclined to accept methods of devotional service which are not bona fide. What does this mean? You go and tell somebody from Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. Śrīla Prabhupāda is our Acharya coming in the parampara. Parampara? Keep it to yourself. Somewhere else somebody says, I don't follow any bona fide literature. Very good, very good. No guru, no parampara. Very good, very good. And there are a lot of people who will go to that kind of this thing. The moment you say something bona fide authorized, no. I don't want to go to any bona fide this thing. Inclined to accept methods of devotional service that are not bona fide. Some random person who comes up, something he has, and people become followers of that. And the last one, moreover, they are always disturbed by material conditions. What is the disturbance of material condition? Disturbed by material conditions. What kind of disturbance is there? Material conditions. We are living in this, even just grossly, in Boston, what is the temperature? Where does it go? How much? Minus, how much? Today is still okay. After a few days, it will become what? Minus 20, 30. Horrible, no? Who wants to go out if that kind of a situation is there outside? Or you go to some other place, maybe extremely hot. Always disturbed by material conditions. And the last one is they're mostly unfortunate. Can anybody say example of mostly, what is the unfortunate about Kali Yuga? What is unfortunate? They don't believe in God. Okay. Think more. Not knowing the purpose of life. How does it manifest? Huh? Okay. Mostly. Cannot pronounce that. Still Krishna will accept. Somehow even Krishna, Kali Kali Krishna, Namarupa Avatar. Very simple. Huh? No. Actually, the most unfortunate thing manifests. They don't have. They don't have what? You call them to temple, you call them. They don't have time. You call them, you invite them, you tell them so many ways. No time. There's no time. It's the biggest irony. People are so busy. That's unfortunate. Last time I was in Bangalore, I was talking to one Mataji. She's I think probably for last decade or so been one of the, always in top 5 book distributors in Bangalore. You'll all be knowing. So her son, she was sharing one experience. Her son, in India, unlike here, you can stop anybody. Just stand in the road. Bus, truck, car, motorbike, you just don't spare. So this Mataji is also very aggressive, we all know that. And her son is more aggressive. So he stopped one person who was going very fast. He stopped him. It's truth. So he stopped him, that fellow stopped, and he said, "You take this Bhagavad Gita." That fellow got so irritated. First of all, you have stopped me and you are asking me to take a Bhagavad Gita, right? He said, what if because of you, I get late and I reach office late and I lose my job? Very angrily he said. He said, what if you go like this and you die in the road by an accident? Don't even reach. So that he didn't know what to say. He left from there. But Mataji was saying there was another young folk boy who was there with him. And that fellow said, what if Prabhu, your words come true? And that guy who left, that person who was driving, apparently he came back and said, did you curse me that I'll die or something? Better I take the book and go. Most unfortunate people. No time. You ask people, this is the real thing, there is no time. So under the circumstances, the performance of other processes such as yajna, dana, tapa and kriya, sacrifices, chanting, charity and so on are not at all possible. No, not possible. How all these 4 problems, there is short living, bad in their habits, accept methods of devotional service that are not bona fide, disturbed by material conditions, mostly unfortunate, then all these things are not possible. Therefore it is recommended. You can repeat together. Harer nama, harer nameva kevalam, kalau nastyeva, gatir ranyatha. Harer nam, how many times it is there? 3 times, right? Harer nam, harer nam, harer nam. What is the word eva? Eva is only. What is kevalam? Kevalam is also only. So are they doing is there a typo or what? 3 times Harer Nam, twice Eva, Kevalam. Again, Kalau Nasti Eva, Nasti, there is nothing else. No other Gati, there is no other path. Eva, again Eva is only. Nasti Eva, again only. So only 3 times plus 2, 5 times. Nasti Eva, Gatiranyatha. Anything which is told 3 times, what happens? What does that mean? They were foolish people, they didn't know that, they just repeated it, they didn't know what to fill with, or what is it? It is most important. Harer Nam, Nama eva kevalam. Kalau Nastyeva, Gatiranyatha. There is no other way. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, what is the word quarrel and what does the word hypocrisy means? That is a symptom of Kali Yuga. When we are in association of devotees also, when we come together, quarrel is there. Okay? Chal banta nahi hai. And when we go out of association of devotees, hypocrisy. So whether it is better to be in association of devotees and quarrel or be out of the association of devotees and be hypocrite. Being in association of devotees but don't quarrel. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting of the holy name of the Lord. The only. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. Simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one advances perfectly in spiritual life. I don't know if you saw the Bhagavatam lecture today by Madhupani Prabhu. Anybody saw the morning? It was about chanting, and Prabhu was mentioning exactly what is written here. Simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one advances perfectly in spiritual life, and this is the best process for success in life. In general, for success in life, whatever you want to do, this is the best process for success in life. Materially, spiritually, this is the best process for success in life. In other ages, the chanting of the holy name is equally powerful. But especially in this Kali Yuga, it is most powerful. See this word? It is powerful, but in this Kali Yuga, it is most powerful. That is why the verse of Bhagavatam, it says, Kirtanadeva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Param Brajet. Simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, one is liberated and returns home back to Godhead. Therefore, even if one is able to perform other process of devotional service, one must adopt the chanting of the holy name as the principal method of advancing, in spiritual life. And then Prabhupada again quotes from another verse from Bhagavatam, which says, Yajñai Sankirtana Prayar Yajantihi Sumedhasaha. Yajñai Sankirtana Prayar. It's a Sankirtana Yajña. Like you do any sacrifice, in other yugas, you do some sacrifice, you get some results. So if you keep on doing Sankirtan Yajña, you will get all the results. And who does this Sankirtan Yajña? Intelligent people. Yajñai Sankirtana Prayar Yajantihi Sumedhasa, who are very intelligent. Those who are very sharp in their intelligence should adopt this process of chanting the holy names of the Lord. Or in other words, those who chant the names of the Lord are very intelligent. Krishna Jai Bhaje Sevada Chatur. One should not, however, manufacture different types of chanting. So this is also another very important thing. You know, people in the name of chanting, they manufacture different things. Bhaja Sri Krishna, Bhaja Nit, Japa Nit, you know, Japa Bhaja Radhe, Bhaja Nitai Gaur Radhe Shyam, Japa Hare Krishna Hare Ram. Correct. ये माता जी को पता है, देखा? ये ऐसा सब बहुत जगह पे होता है. I mean, there are many places where they chant like this. Bhaja Hare Krishna Hare Ram, Japa Nitai, something like that. Right? So Prabhupada is saying one should not, however, manufacture different types of chanting. You should not manufacture. So one should adhere. What is the word adhere? What does it mean? Stick. One should adhere seriously. One should adhere seriously to the chanting of the holy names as recommended in the scriptures. You can't manufacture your own thing. You may chant some names which comes to your mind, that's good. But for sadhana, if you want that purification of the heart to happen, then one should adhere seriously to the chanting of the holy name as recommended in the scriptures. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. There are many interesting things in this purport. I want to just go quickly. All these things we can elaborately discuss, but there is something I want to talk which is given here. It's a very powerful thing. While chanting the holy name of the Lord, one should be careful to avoid 10 offenses. Okay, which are the 10 offenses? We know out of the 10 offenses, which is the most dangerous? First one is Vaishnava Aparad, right? Vaishnava Aparad is also known as, what is it called? We read this every day in the morning, right? Almost it gives Hati Mata. It's a mad elephant offense. The garden of devotional service which is there in our heart will be completely destroyed, completely crushed by Vaishnava Aparad. That is the most grievous. Why Vaishnava Aparad is considered a Nama Aparad? It's an offense against the Vaishnava. How is it considered to be an offense against the holy name? Vaishnavas are dear to Lord. Vaishnavas are also the owner of holy name. I mean, they chant. So since you are committing an offense against the owner, so holy name also, it's an offense against the holy name. From Sanat Kumar, it is understood that even a person is severe offender in many ways, he is freed from offensive life if he takes shelter of the Lord's holy name. Actually, this offense which is referring to is not Vaishnava Aparad or not Nama Aparad. These are all Seva Aparad. If you want to know what is Seva Aparad, actually, this is commented by Jiva Goswami. The Seva Aparads are there in Nectar of Devotion, chapter 8. There are different kinds of Seva Aparad. Like you enter into the this thing without chanting the names of the Lord loudly. Many Seva Aparads. When we do some deity worship, there will be many Seva Aparads which happens. So he's telling that it is understood that even a person is severe offender in many ways. He is freed from the offensive life if he takes shelter of the Lord's holy name. Indeed, even if a human being is no better than a two-legged animal, he will be liberated if he takes shelter of the holy name of the Lord. One should therefore be very careful not to commit offense at the lotus feet of the Lord's holy name. So the most problematic one is this one, the blasphemy against to blaspheme the devotees, especially a devotee engaged in broadcasting the glories of the holy name. And the next most one, the biggest one is to commit, E, F, G करने से पता नहीं चलता. G, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name of the Lord. There's another, you keep on doing offenses and you think that the holy name is going to nullify that. This is a big, big offense. But which is the mother of all the offenses? How does the offenses come? Mother of all offenses come because of inattentiveness. Where is that? Not to awaken in transcendental attachment for the chanting of the holy name, even after understanding. Where is the inattentiveness? Okay, you got it right. This is the one where it is the inattentiveness leads to all offenses. So how attentive we should be? Anybody can anybody say what are the three different stages of the nama? This thing, three different stages of chanting. Nama aparadha. Aparadha, Nama Bhasa, Nama Abhasa, and then Suddhanam. Okay. How many of you think you are chanting Suddhanam? Shyam? How many of you are in Nama Bhas? How many of you are in Nama Aparad? Okay. You don't have to be shy. Actually, we are in Nama Aparad stage. We do so many offenses. But actually, Prabhupada, if you carefully see, has given how do you come out of Nama Aparad. First, let's see. First thing what he is mentioning here, there is no way to atone for any of these offenses. If you do these offenses, there is no way to atone. Very serious matter it is. There is no way to atone for these offenses. Then, it is therefore recommended, if you do this offense, it is therefore recommended that an offender at the feet of the holy name continue to chant the holy name 24 hours a day. So you do some offense, it is therefore recommended that an offender at the feet of the holy name continue to chant the holy name 24 hours a day. Constant chanting of the holy name will make one free from offenses, and then he will gradually be elevated to the transcendental platform on which he can chant the pure holy name and thus become a lover of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We'll come to this. So suppose somebody says, anyway I'm committing offense, better not to chant. Do you think it's a good idea? It's like, suppose, anyway Prabhu, when I'm wearing the dress, my dress gets dirty. So might as well not wear anything. No, you wear clean dress, right? You chant, but chant offenselessly. Prabhupada, very nicely actually, I have... Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time, but I still want to share this. Prabhupada actually shares how we can go from the Nama Aparadha stage to Suddhanam. Are you all interested to know? How do you go from Nama Aparadha stage to Suddhanam? कैसे जाओगे माता जी? जानना चाहते हो? जानना चाहते हो तो बोलो जोर से, हरि बोल. कोई जानना नहीं चाहते, मैं बोलो जोर से बोलो. Okay. So the first stage of the stage 1, chanting with offenses, actually this is there. If you carefully hear this lecture, 6.2.9 and 10, January 15, 1971, Allahabad. Prabhupada gives very lot of powerful insights as to how we should hear or how should we chant and what is the method to come out of the offensive stage of chanting. So the first thing is, the first stage of chanting of Hare Krishna mantra is full of offenses. But if one sticks to this principle, therefore we have to chant regularly 16 rounds at least. So first thing is we have to chant 16 rounds at least. Don't give up on that. So even there are offenses, by simply chanting and being repentant that I have committed the offense unnecessarily or without knowledge, so simply by repentant and go on chanting. First thing that he's saying, if you are chanting an offensive this thing, be repentant and go on chanting. You must chant. You don't stop. You chant minimum 16 rounds. You should chant at least regularly and be repentant. And then The second thing, offenses not considered in the chanting of the Panchatattva mantra. Another very powerful thing to get rid of these offenses against the holy name. That's why we keep chanting Hare Krishna, Panchatattva mantra every time we finish. Why do you come and laugh? So every time we finish the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, complete round, then we chant Panchatattva mantra. There is no offense against Panchatattva mantra. Panchatattva mantra is required. So Prabhupada is saying, actually towards the end, if you see, learn the Panchatattva Mahamantra and then chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That will be very effective. So there is no offense against Panchatattva mantra because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very merciful. He wants us to get this Krishna Prem. So that is why the Panchatattva mantra is there. So if you are chanting in the offensive mode, be repentant and continue to chant. There is no offense against Panchatattva mantra, so you keep chanting Panchatattva mantra. Stage 2 is the cleaning stage, Namabhas. Simply be repentant and go on chanting. Again, Prabhupada is saying. Then the stage will come, it is called Namabhas. Namabhas means just a glimpse where you experience. Actually, all of us, we get that feeling. How many of you have you purchased something which is on trial period? Like, you buy that, initially there will be a trial period for a few days and then the trial gets over and then you have to go for a subscription. Like that you have done something? First few days, एक हफ्ता trial रहेगा. तो सब ठीक लग रहा है. उसके बाद subscription लेना है every day. So it's like that. Initially when we take up to this process of chanting, everything looks very nice. But that only lasts for few days. Right? 7 days हो गया. उसके बाद Krishna, if you want really Krishna Prem, Krishna also wants you to be very attentive. So you have to be very careful. And when you do that, actually you see the difference. When you chant, avoiding the offenses. What is the word offense? What does it mean? Offense का मतलब क्या होता है? अपराध का मतलब क्या है? Aparadha is actually going away from Radha, Srimati Radharani. So going away because of our attitude, because of our whatever I am doing, I'm going away from Srimati Radharani. And chanting the name is nothing but asking for her blessings to take shelter of Krishna. So stage 2 is simply be repentant and go on chanting. Then the stage will come. It is called Namabhas. That is offenseless. When there is no more offenses, that is called Namabhas. And Namabhas stage, one becomes liberated immediately. Then the pure chanting, Suddhanam. And when one is liberated, if he goes on chanting naturally, he'll go on chanting, then his love for Krishna will manifest. Anyway, what did you learn from what I was trying to say from this Namabhas to this thing which Prabhupada is talking about? What do you have to do? Continue to chant, be repentant and go on chanting. Chant your 16 rounds, even if there are offenses which you are not aware of and you've committed, still go on chanting, but with a repentant mood, you will come to Namabhas. That is the stage of liberation, and once you come to that Namabhas stage, automatically you will develop Krishna Prem. Constant chanting of the holy name will make one free from offenses, and then he'll gradually be elevated to the transcendental platform on which he can chant the pure holy name, and thus become a lover of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. My God. It is recommended that even if one commits offenses, one should continue chanting the holy name. In other words, the chanting of the holy name makes one offenseless. In the book Nama Kaumudi, it is recommended that if one is an offender at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, he should submit to that Vaishnava and be excused. Similarly, if one is an offender in chanting the holy name, he should submit to the holy name and thus be freed from the offenses. So if you are committing an offense, if you commit a Vaishnava aparad, you should go and ask forgiveness for that from that Vaishnava. Similarly, if you have committed an offense against the holy name, you should ask for forgiveness from the holy name. So there is, in this connection, there is this thing which is spoken by Daksha to Lord Shiva. You can repeat all along with me. These lines are very powerful. I did not know the glories of your personality together, and therefore I committed an offense at your lotus feet in the open assembly. You are so kind, however, that you did not accept my offense. Instead, when I was falling down because of accusing you, you saved me by your merciful glance. You are most great. Kindly excuse me and be satisfied with your own exalted qualities. This is Daksha. After committing offense against Shiva, he asks for forgiveness. So asking for forgiveness from holy name. I'm not able to control. I'm not able to control my offenses. I don't know what is the right thing. Please forgive me. Still, I want to continue to chant. I'm repentant, but please forgive me. Like that, one should pray. But the last thing which Prabhupada mentions, which is the final thing, just 2 minutes. One should be very humble and meek to offer one's desires and chant prayers composed in glorification of the holy name. You want to get rid of offense? Prabhupada is giving one formula. If you remember this formula, it's a very powerful thing. One should be very humble and meek to offer one's desires and chant prayers composed in glorification of the holy name, such as Aimukta Kuler Upasyamanam and Nivritta Tarsher Upagiyamanat. Prabhupada is just giving some example. So this is Namastakam, Aimukta Kuler Upasyamanam, Nivritta Tarsher. If you know some verses, if you know some very powerful these things at the beginning, or even if you don't know, you know some Vaishnava songs, some compositions. Beautiful compositions all are there. If you chant those, one should chant such prayers to become free from offenses at the lotus feet of the holy name. Prabhupada is giving a secret here. One should chant such prayers. The moment you chant, why the offense come? Because we are inattentive. Our mind is going all over the place. In the beginning, when you are about to chant, if you remember some good prayers, you should keep some prayers in your, wherever, in your pocket somewhere, and you can take it out and read something if you remember, especially if it is connected to the holy name, it's great. If not, even what we are chanting now, let's say Kunti Maharani's prayers. One prayer you just take, Namasya Purusham Tvadyam Ishwaram Prakrite Param Alakshyam Sarva Bhutanam Antar Bahiravasthitam. And so you chant some prayers and remember the glories of the Supreme Lord. Your mind, consciousness, everything becomes very different, and you can chant offenselessly. To close, if you want to know some songs which you can remember, of course there are many. I mean, it's not like this only has to be remembered. You say Bhajau Ramana, Sri Nandanandan, any such songs, just the 2-3 lines of those stanza, and if you chant, if you recite and then you chant, not like every day you have to do, but Prabhupada is saying just chanting some prayers or chanting some these things can actually one can get rid of the offenses against holy name. There is one beautiful bhajan by Bhakti Vinod Thakur, where he sings, Ekhono bujhinu prabhu tomara charana ashoka bhayamrita purna sarvakshana. Ekhono bujhinu prabhu. I mean, right now I have understood, oh Lord. Ekhono bujhinu prabhu tomara charana. Your lotus feet is only shelter. Ashoka, there is this material world is filled with lamentation, bhaya, and your lotus feet is free from lamentation, free from fear, and it is amrita, nectar, purna, sarvakshana, all the moment. Sakala chhadiya tua charana kamale, podiyachi ami nata tava padatale. Beautiful song actually. If you just go into the meaning of this, very, very powerful. Any such songs that you know, you can just think of. And you should feel, I'm going to serve the holy name. When you're serving someone, how careful you should be. You're not going to offend, you want to please that person whom you're serving. So Nama Prabhu is manifesting, Kali Kale Nama Rupe Krishna Avatar is manifesting in holy name. I have to be very attentive, very carefully I have to chant. And if we chant, we will gradually come to the stage of Krishna. These are all some of the things from this. There's a lot, but it is very powerful if we know the process and we do it properly. Then it works. Our consciousness becomes very, very clear and pure. And we can actually experience that Krishna Prem. We'll stop here and we'll see tomorrow's Smaranam. So that's going to be the last day of our Kartik. Śrīla Prabhupāda ki, Kartik Mad Maha Mahotsav ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande.